Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Capnclydes MTG. We're finally getting this train back on the rails. After this, will get me caught up to date on leaks, spoilers, and reviews, and then I'll post another one tonight after the day is over. Whew, and then I'll start looking into some other news and other things that are going on as everything is finally caught back up to the best of my ability. So, with that said, don't forget comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Simple subscription or check us out on Rumble. We're on Rumble now. We'll help support the channel for free. If you want to spend a little bit of money, I do appreciate that too. The box opening video cards that you see are for sale on TCG, eBay. All links in the description. There's a Patreon down there, an email, and all that good jazz. Check us out. So, without further ado, let's get this train back on the rails and actually in motion. So we're going to start off today with our very first card. It is a commander. It says box topper. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but we have a new picture for Lightning Greaves. So being a box topper, this is probably going to be what you're going to get if you buy a box at a local store. Unfortunately, I don't have any stores that are local enough for me to buy a box from. But, I mean, whatever. It's half a dozen one, six the other. But Lightning Greaves, pretty cool art, not going to lie. I like this probably better than most of the reprints. And it'll probably have some value to it. But hey, Commander Lightning Greaves, what more do you want in life? So, next we're going to move on. We have a Secret Lair. So, this is a Jurassic Park Secret Lair again. We have Henry Wu, Engine Geologist, blue, green, and black for a 1/4 legendary human scientist. Whenever this or another human creatures you control have exploit, which is when it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature. Whenever a creature you control exploits a non-human creature, draw a card. If you exploited a creature that had power 3 or greater, create a treasure token. Pretty sweet, although it does say non-human. So your humans have exploits, your non-humans don't. It makes sense, but that means you got to have a 2-tier deck. Really weird. Good for Commander, probably. Grim Gigantosaurus. Boy, what a name. Green, black, and 5. A 10/10 that can Monstrosity for green, black, and 10. Monstrosity 10, making it a 20/20. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each creature you control, power 4 or greater. For each creature with power 4 or greater your opponent controls. Excuse me. So, yeah. Interesting. When it becomes monstrous, destroy all artifacts and creatures other than Grim Giganotosaurus. Anyway. So, great for Commander. Probably one of the places it's going to see play. Although 7 mana for a 10/10 is pretty sweet, but 7 mana is a lot. We have Savage Order, 2 green and 2. As additional cost of this spell, sacrifice a creature power 4 or greater. Search your library for a dinosaur creature card. Put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. It gains indestructible to end your next turn. Can you just say wow? There are so many cheap dinosaurs that this could make into a big nasty dinosaur like the Grim, or any other dinosaur that we've had printed that is severely overpowered. This is going to definitely see Commander play, and it's going to be a great card. So, yeah, this is going to be a thing. It's going to be a high dollar card. We have Spitting Dilophosaurus, black and 2 for a 3/2, not bad. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature. Creatures your opponents control with -1/-1 counters on them can't block. That is also another phenomenal thing. That's an amazing card for black. We have Cresting Mosasaurus, 2 blue and 6 for a 4/8. This has Emerge for a blue and 6. You may cast this spell by sacrificing a creature and paying the Emerge cost reduced by the creature's mana value. Not only is the Emerge cost cheaper, but you're sacrificing a creature, make it even cheaper. You can probably play this on turn 4. And when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, return target non-dinosaur creature to its owner's hand. This is not the best thing in the world, but it does have its place, and it is kind of cool with Emerge. But there's your Secret Lair, so yeah, we're really firing all cylinders today. Lots of stuff coming out. All right, so next, let's get into special guest cards. Those are the ones that are going to be reprinted in the set that you might get every now and then. So these are reprints. Let's see if there's any good ones. We have Dargo the Shipwrecker. He's not bad. Red and 6 for a 7/5. Additional cost to the spell. Sacrifice any number of artifacts or creatures. The spell costs 2 less to cast for each permanent sacrifice this way, and 2 less to Colorless, less to cast for each other artifact or creature you sacrifice this turn. Trample, partner. It's okay. Next, then we have Mephidros Vampire, 2 black and 4. I haven't seen this thing in a while. 3/4 flyer. Whenever each creature you control is a vampire in addition to other types, and have whenever this creature deals damage to a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on it this turn. Good old Singir style effect, except the creature doesn't have to die, you just have to deal damage to it, so chump blocking becomes not an option. Other cards in the list of the guests, we have Lord Windgrace coming back with art definitely suiting this character. Love this card. It's great in Commander, and this art is on point. Cannot stress enough how much I love this art. We have new art for Rampaging Ferocidon, the 3/3 that lets you can't gain life and menace. Very popular in older formats. Good card. Sees a little bit of Commander play in mono red. Good reprint. Good art. I like it. Pitiless Plunderer comes back 1/4 whenever the creature controls create a treasure token. A highly popular uncommon, gets lots of play in Commander. Great art, love it, very nice. These are looking good. Miri Weatherlight Duelist comes back again for a reprint. All these arts on these guest cards are amazing. Probably some of the best art we've seen in a while, and I'm really enjoying it. And we're reprinting cards that are not only necessary to a point, but cards that actually see some play that aren't overvalued to really drive down the price, just making them more available. So I do like the 4 we got here. Moving on, next we have Breaches, Brazen Blunderer, whatever. It's a goblin. Decent reprint, not bad for an uncommon. Love the art as usual. Pyloraptor, this hot Commander card where you can go combo crazy and make tons of stuff to kill your opponent, dinosaur after dinosaur, is amazing. Also great art once again. Great reprint. Galta Primal Hunger, not necessarily that we needed a reprint, but I do appreciate the art. Very Godzilla-esque / Jurassic Park-esque. Definitely liking it. Carnage Tyrant comes back. This again, great card. Doesn't see a lot of play anymore. It was very popular back in the day because of the ability to have trample and hexproof, and it couldn't be countered. It was a pretty much go all be all for a green deck to beat a blue deck, or basically any other deck with removal. Good reprint here as well. I like how all these reprints are dinosaur themed. They're good dinosaurs. They're good reprints. Yes, Windgrace is not a dinosaur. Sue me. But Windgrace needs a good reprint and an art to suit that card, so I'm okay with it. Looking fantastic. Now, with that being said, let's get into the actual set. We have Keeper of the Inner Sun, 1 white for a human soldier. It's a 1/2, already good rate. As long as there are 3 or more counters on Keeper of the Inner Sun, it has flying and vigilance. Interesting. Tap 3 untap artifacts and or creatures you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on Keeper of the Inner Sun. Then scry 1, activate only as a sorcery. This is going to be an amazing white card in White Weenie. Not only does it help make it bigger so it gets through because it gains flying and vigilance, but it gives you something to do with all those creatures that can't swing in once they start getting blocked out by bigger creatures on the other side of the board. Like this card a lot. It's going to be in human deck. It's already a soldier. That's part of a main theme. This is going to be a thing in older and newer formats alike. Next we have a Promising Vein, another cave. Taps for 1 colorless. For 1 and tap and sacrifice Promising Vein. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Again, this is an amazing card. This is pretty much the Shire for Standard. And the Shire I thought was good enough for Commander and older formats because it, again, is the ability to sacrifice but still taps for mana, so you're not screwed on that. This will be another Commander staple, I think. It's just too good not to play. Plus, in cave decks, hey, it's a cave that does what the Shire does. Who doesn't want that? Moving on. Next we have the Inverted Iceberg. So this is a blue and 1 artifact. When it enters the battlefield, you mill a card, then draw a card. Not bad for 2. Now it crafts for 2 blue and 4. When it crafts, it becomes an artifact creature golem that's a 6/6. And whenever it attacks, you may tap or untap target artifact or creature. So it's got a pseudo vigilance built into it, unless you got some shenanigans jumping off in your deck, which is going to make it even better. So this is probably definitely going to be a commander card. But to be fair, This could see standard play. 2 mana, mill 1, draw 1 is not the worst. And the ability later to turn into a 6/6 that lets you jump off some shenanigans. Ain't that bad either. Next we have Capric T Sunborn. God, I probably butchered the hell out of that. Anyway, white, red, and 2 for a 4/4. Whenever it attacks, you may tap 2 untap artifacts and or creatures you control. If you do, discover 3. Nothing like swinging in for the Cascade. This seems very powerful, especially being red-white when that's known for the weenie colors of the deck. Weenie white, weenie red, red-white combinations. Cascading 3 means you're going to hit everything else in your deck. This is probably going to be the only 4-drop. Definitely going to see limited play. Probably going to see some form of play in standard to see how good it is. And it could be good enough, not even lie, to just bridge that gap and make those white-red decks really powerful. Next we have Deep Fathom Echo, blue and green and 2 for a 4/4, great rate already. Beginning combat on your turn, the Echo explores, then you may have it become a copy of another creature you control to end a turn. So, at worst, it's a 4/4 on your turn. At best, it's a 5/5. And if you have something else out that is just stupidly large, it becomes a copy of it. So, nothing like going, hey, I'm going to explore, turn this into an Eldrazi and wreck your world. I don't see that happening too often, but I know some of you guys out there are going to try it. This is going to be a great card for Commander, not even going to lie. The mana rate and what it does, this is going to be fine for Standard, I think. I think people are going to try Blue-Green Merfolk. They do every time we had Ixalan last time. And this looks like probably the high end of that deck, and it seems to be a powerful card, not even going to lie. Next we have Fabrication Foundry. White and 1 artifact. Taps for a white. Spend only to cast artifact spell or activate an ability of an artifact source. For a white and 2, you can exile 1 or more other artifacts you control with total mana value X. Return target artifact card mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. This seems really good. Not only is it a mana rock, but you can do artifact shuffling with creatures or regular artifacts. Get them in and out of your graveyard. You do exile, so the artifacts you lose will be gone for good. But, if you're going to win the game with it, does it really matter? It's an interesting rare. We'll have to see if it becomes... I'm sure in some decks this is a better mana rock than others. So... Next we have Cogwork Wrestler, sorry. From the top rope. Anyway, 1 blue for this 1/2 flash creature. Wow. When it enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -2, -0 to the end of turn. Oh, okay. It's fine. It's an artifact. You can craft with it. It blocks well. It can block 2 turns in a row probably because anything 3 power it can bounce because it'll make it a -2, make it a 1. This is going to definitely have great limited repercussions and maybe some standard depending how craft with artifact goes. Next we have Triumphant Chomp. 1 red sorcery deals damage to target creature equal to 2 or the greatest power among dinosaurs you control, whichever is greater. This is easily a shock sorcery. At worst, which is fine. At best, this 1 mana spell could do 3, 4, even 5 damage. This is going to see play in Standard and definitely Limited. And if you're playing a Commander deck with a bunch of dinos, this is your jam. In Commander, you may very well cast this 1 mana spell and do 10 damage to somebody. Jesus. Moving on. Next we have Petrify. White and 1 or enchant creature can't attack or block. Activate abilities can't be activated. The better pacifism, and the new pacifism. So it'll see standard play if white's a thing. And while slip into a few decks that need more of those pacifism style effects, plus the limited all-star. Hoverstone Pilgrim, 5 colorless for a 2/5 with flying and ward 2. Very interesting. 2 colorless. Put target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. At best, this is a limited card. Maybe. Moving on, next we have Kutsul's Flanker, white and 2 for a 3/1 with flash. It's okay so far. When it enters the battlefield, you can put a +1/+1 counter on the flanker for each creature that left the battlefield under your control this turn. Not bad. Gain 2 life and scry 2. Not bad. Or exile target player's graveyard. So, okay, this is good because it has different abilities. Gaining life and scrying 2 can help set up your deck. Exiling graveyards to stop shenanigans is fine too. If your opponent wraths the board on you for 3 or 4 of your creatures, this for 3 mana can come in at the end of their turn as a 7/5 and then punch them in the face for God knows how much. This has potential for standard, definitely limited, maybe commander, maybe older formats as a sideboard versus board wipe style decks. Next we have Corpses of the Lost. Black and 2. Skeletons you control get +1/+0 and have haste. That's kind of cool. That's new. When Corpses of the Lost enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 black skeleton pirate creature token. Okay, so for 3 mana, you get a 3/2 with haste. That's already great. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, you may pay 1 life. If you do, return Corpses of the Lost to its owner's hand. Okay, so that's how you make more things. This seems very powerful for standard, just because of the ability to generate creatures regularly, especially for black. Probably going to be pretty good in limited, not going to lie. May see play in some of the older formats that are not as mana light. The formats that take 1 and 2 cost spells as a premium over anything higher. Probably won't shine too much there. But the ability to make 3/2 zombies and crack a fetch land or something, pick it back up and then do it again seems fine. It may be a win condition in some older decks. We'll have to wait and see. Next we have Calamitous Cave-In, red and 3. It deals X damage to each creature and each planeswalker, where X is the number of caves you control plus the number of cave cards in your graveyard. So this is good for the cave theme, good for limited. It's basically a red board wipe. Could see play in standard. Again, I'm going to have to sit down and really look at every cave that we get and see if there's really a benefit to playing just caves, because most of the colored ones come to play tapped along with some other things. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, so to be fair, now that I think about it, there is a cave. We did just see a cave that you could fetch lands with. So if you put them all in your deck, if they're in your graveyard, they still count. They'll give you a four power board wipe. It could easily be some shenanigans that sees play in standard just because of that part. So we'll give benefit of the doubt. Anyway, moving on. Thousand Moons Smithy. So 2 white and 2 for legendary artifact. When it enters the battlefield, create a white gnome soldier artifact creature token with this creature's power and toughness is equal to the number of artifacts or creatures you control. Already not bad. Beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may tap 5 untapped artifacts and or creatures you control. If you do, you get to transform it into the land Barracks of 1,000, taps for a white. Whenever you cast an artifact or creature spell using a mana produced by Barracks of 1,000, create a white gnome soldier creature token. That's power and toughness equal to the number of artifacts you control. Alright, this is insane. We've seen how powerful this can be in Urza decks. And if you're just playing a bunch of cool artifacts that have lots of good synergies, and like 4 of these, why do I say 4? Because you could put a Thousand Moon Smithy on the field, flip it, and then cast another Thousand Moon, trigger this, because this is technically the land and not this, and have them both on the field. So if they kill this, then you just flip this, yada yada yada, so forth and so on. And also you could tap this for a white, and then tap other artifacts. Lotta, flip this over, cast another one of these, make another token. There's tons of shenanigans here. This is an amazing white card. It's going to see standard play. It's going to be huge and limited. I would definitely play it in Commander if you're in white and play in an artifact theme. Outside of that, we'll have to wait and see if there's some kind of weird combo, but this does seem pretty good in any kind of format where Urza was good. Next we have Shahili's Lattice, red and 1 artifact. It enters the battlefield. You may discard a card. If you do, draw 2. This is probably the best red spell because you get something in play from discarding a card to draw 2. This is the best one yet. Craft with 1 or more dinosaurs, red and 4. You can exile 1 or more dinosaurs. If you do, it becomes the Raptors It becomes Metalcraft Raptor, which power is equal to the power of the exile cards used to craft it. It's a blank 4. So you can literally do this, discard a giant dinosaur that's with 7, I don't know, we'll say power. And then on 5, turn this into a 7/4. You've drawn 2 cards. Um, this is going to be a limited all-star. This is going to be a standard all-star. And any deck playing dinosaurs should have this in it in some capacity. Just because of the ability to draw a card, plus utilize your graveyard to make a very large creature after the fact. And plus it makes you discard, so it feeds itself. This is all around a great uncommon. Next we have Arch of Olatek. So 1 white artifact when it enters the battlefield, scry 2. That's not terrible. Craft with artifacts for a white and 2, so that's kind of cheap. You get a golem, that's a 1/4, it flies. Whenever it attacks, target creature without flying gains flying in a turn. Okay, so it's a fine common. It's going to definitely see play, in my opinion, in limited, but that's probably going to be about the only place. Just don't think it does enough. All right, moving on, we have Zawa Lava Tongue, red-black for a 2/2 with Death Touch. That's pretty sweet. Beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, each opponent may discard a card or sacrifice a permanent. Zawa Lava Tongue deals 3 damage to each opponent who didn't. Amazing commander card, amazing limited card, amazing standard card. I mean, if you put something in your graveyard, this thing's just bolting everybody. Unless they want to sacrifice something. This is insane. Yeah. Wow. I don't know what to say. This is amazing. We're going to see this in a lot of decks. A lot of decks. Moving on. Next we have Kutzil Malamet Exemplar. White, green, and 1 for a 3/3. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Wow. Whenever one or more creatures you control, each with power greater than its base power, deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. This is amazing in a deck that gives counters. Plus, it stops counter spells. Limited all-star because 3 mana, 3/3, that if you can put a +1/+1 counter on it, becomes a draw engine. For the same reason, it is a standard all-star, along with the ability to stop counter spell decks or anything on your turn, like removal, you name it. This stops combat tricks. Like, there's a lot going on here. This is going to be seeing play. Wow, this is good. Okay, moving on. Also good in Commander. Next we have Ogier Coliseum Deepest Growth. 2 green and 3 for a 6/5 Trampler. Seems fine. That's fine. 5 mana for a 6/5 Trampler. Oh wait, there's more text. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from top of your library. You may put a creature card and or land from among them on the battlefield. Put the rest in the bottom in random order. Oh yeah. We'll just free cast everything. Everything. This is absurd. When it dies, return it to the battlefield tapped, transformed. Okay, so it doesn't go away. It becomes a Temple of Cultivation, which taps for a green. For a green and 2, you can transform the Temple of Cultivation as a sorcery if you control 10 or more permanents. So it comes back as a 6/5. Okay. So this is a $30, $40 card. Standard All-Star. This is going to see play in many green decks. This is absurdly good at the things that it does. Limited bomb. The only thing this is not going to impact is the older formats where 5 mana might just be is probably too much. But who knows? There may be something out there to make this ramp onto the battlefield fast enough to make it a thing. But this is just absurd. Absurd. All right. Next we have Trumpeting Carnosaur. 2 red and 4 for a 7/6 with Trample. When it enters the battlefield, discover 5, which is Cascade. For red 2, discard Trumpeting Carnosaur, deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. So this is an amazing card. Again, I want to say. 7/6 for 6 is fine. The fact that it will cast a 5-drop dinosaur from your deck the minute it comes into play is absurd. And the ability early game to make it deal 3 damage to something that's going to cause you issues is also amazing. It does it all. It has late game, early game. It's a late game devastating card because of the Discovery 5. Wow. Limited bomb. Standard All-Star. Past that, maybe nothing else. I mean, I'm sure people are going to try to play this in some of the older formats like Pioneer and Brawl or what have you. Just because 6 mana with the ability to cascade for 5 and get a 7/6 with trample is just too sweet not to try. Jesus. Great for commander. Yeah. All right, we got reprint, Sorceress Spyglass. 2 colorless, look at opponent's hand, name a card. Card can't use any of its abilities. We've seen this previously in Ixalan. Great card. Lots of sideboard action, mainboard action. It'll be okay in limited, probably sideboarded in. Standard, probably going to see play depending on the kind of format that we have, but we all know how good this card is. Next we have Dreadmaw's Ire. 1 red. Until end of turn, target attacking creature gets +2/+2, gains trample. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, destroy target artifact that player controls. Slices, dices, makes julienne fries. It does everything. It saves your creatures. It gets the damage in with trample so you can kill artifacts. This is probably going to be the go-to pump spell for most red decks just because of what it does. I mean, artifacts are going to be a thing in Standard right now because of this. Along with the other sets that are artifact heavy, the ability to use this 1 red to save your creature, kill their creature, deal 1 point of damage so you can destroy an artifact. This is going to be absurdly good. This is probably one of the cards where the foil is going to be $5 to $10. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Tendril of the Myco Triant. What a name. Green and 1 for a 2/2 wizard. Fungus. For 2 green and 5, you get to put 7+1/+1 counters on target non-creature land you control. It becomes a 0/0 fungus creature with haste, still a land. Ooh. Probably only going to see limited play for those bomb turns. You need to be like, hey, look, I have a 7/7 forest. Take it to the face. Standard, probably not so much. It'll probably die before that, but and early game, it doesn't really do a whole lot. Just as a 2/2, just kind of hanging out, being chill. Doing what funguses do. So yeah, probably just a limited card. Next we have Synapse Necromage. Boy, what a picture. The hell is that supposed to be? Anyway, well, obviously fungus because it's a fungus wizard. Anyway, black and 2 for this 3/1. When it dies, you create 2 1/1 black fungus creature tokens with this creature can't block. Amazing card. 3 mana 3/1 that can block and kill something that gives you 2 1/1 creatures in exchange to help you do whatever, tap to cast spells, craft artifacts, whatever the case may be. This is probably one of the better cards that's going to let you kill this, get more creatures to kill more stuff. This is going to be great for Commander and the Yawgmoth decks because you get -1/-1 and sacrifice. You can sacrifice this to -1/-1. You get 2 more creatures to replace it, so you can give something -3/-3, draw 3 cards. Yeah, this has its place. It's going to be pretty cool, and foils will probably be a couple bucks. Next, we have Jade Seedstones. Green and 3 artifact. When Seedstone enters the battlefield, distribute 3+1/+1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 targets you control. Not bad. Craft with creature, 2 green and 5. It becomes a 7/7. When it enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to the mana value of the card exiled to craft it. I don't think this does enough. It's probably going to be good and limited, but that's probably about as far as this is going to go. Next, we have Waterlogged Hulk. Hulk Smash. Anyway, 1 blue for an artifact that says tap, middle card. That's fine. Craft with Island. Wow. Blue and 3. Exile this artifact. Exile an island you control from your graveyard if you want. Or in play. It gets to transform, become a 4/4 Vigilance vehicle that crews for 1. Wow. Has to send 8. It can't be blocked as long as there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard. That's pretty cool. Not going to lie, this seems powerful for limited. Just because you can mill yourself into the send 8 and then crew it up. But I don't think you really want to do that and mill away your good cards unless you're looking at the top of your deck somehow. I mean, at best, this is limited. I don't see this doing anything else unless there's some kind of weird combo in Standard where you want to mill yourself. But I think there's better ways than just using this for something that you got to have something to crew 1 with. So, don't think it's going to get there. So, with that said, guys, we are all caught up. It only took 30 more minutes. I appreciate your time. Wow, thanks for sticking around. If you're even still here, I doubt it. Until next time, be kind. And as always, I hope to see you across from the game table. Jesus Christ, can't wait. I'm glad this is over. Finally caught up. shit back on track. I'm gonna do some stuff, play some games. Maybe phone goes off. It just, oh yeah, never mind.